What's up, everybody? I'm Trip Morgan. He's Billy Harless. This is the Panthers Source weekly preview show. Going to be breaking down the Carolina Panthers Week 16 game matchup at home in Charlotte, Bank of America Stadium against divisional opponent, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are riddled with injuries. Got a lot going on there. We've got a couple ourselves, even a suspension. We'll talk a little bit about that, and we all start right now. Before we do, y'all go ahead and smash, like, hit, bop it, flip it, flick it, whatever you want to do, and hit that like button for us, share it, and jump in the comments to discuss. We're going to get this thing started right now. So what's up, everybody? We're back. Do not mind that week 14 up there. It's been a long week. It's the holidays, and I completely forgot to change my edits. So this is definitely week 16, as we said to start with. But anyway, Billy, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Tonight, today, whatever the hell it is.
Ready for the holidays to be over with, but ready to get back to football.
Yeah. It kind of feels like it's been a while, really, with all the holiday rush going on. And this week, it's, after the last few weeks, it's kind of hard to even, I guess, in a way, really get amped up. Not that I try not to, you don't want to overlook anybody in the NFL, but right now the Bucs are on a downfall. They've got injuries. Jameis isn't playing well. He's been hurt a lot of the year. This is really a hard game to get hyped up on, but the Panthers are playing great right now. They've been playing great for the last 6 weeks or so. So hopefully we'll come away with one last home victory and set up. Maybe the Falcons can beat the Saints again and try to set up some stuff going forward.
Yeah, I see a lot of people. It's in the making for the trap game.
Yep.
And there's a lot on the line if we do lose it.
And this one, I'm not too concerned about being a trap game. I mean, it's definitely in that position to be a trap game, but this isn't one I'm really concerned about, mainly because the Bucs are just bad right now. I mean, this isn't like the Jets we were talking about early in the year, who have been playing well considering what everybody thought they were going to be. The Bucs had that preseason hype again of, they're going to the Super Bowl. They picked up Deshaun Jackson. They drafted O.J. Howard at tight end. They have all the stuff on paper again. The new head coach, Jameis Winston, had a good year last year. They're right on the cusp of the playoffs. And like we said in the post-game show, I think it was this past week, until they put all that stuff together on the field, I don't want to hear about their Super Bowl chances with the way Jameis Winston. I mean, everybody talks about all the touchdowns and records he's breaking, but he's also right there on interceptions and all those that talk too. So, like I said, I don't necessarily see it as a big trap game, but you can't overlook anybody in the NFL. Go down there, take care of business at home on Christmas Eve.
When it comes to breaking records in the NFL, I probably got a record I could break in the NFL. I mean, a record.
You heard it here first.
A record for anything. I've attended the most games on November 13th in 2015 compared to, if
you keep up with those crazy stats.
Yeah, if you keep up. And so records to me, they don't, unless it's a rushing, a passing record, but all those, all the crazy off-the-wall ones I don't really care about. Yeah.
We're going to jump right here into the injury updates, guys, from today and yesterday. Nothing a whole lot has changed. Did not participate today. It was Mike Adams, Mario Addison, Devin Funchess, Julius Peppers, Russell Shepard, and Trey Turner. Obviously, Trey's still in the concussion protocol. Not really a whole lot you can base off. This is week 2 with the Carolina Panthers, as careful as they are with these things. Hasn't been a whole lot talked about it. He came in last week after the Vikings game with, symptoms. And he was immediately put in protocol. And like I said, Carolina Rivera doesn't like to talk about these things unless he gets cleared up. That's when he'll announce it, and obviously we'll all know. But until then, nothing really on that front. I don't expect him to play this week again. I think that's safe to say at this point. And against the Bucs, no offense, we did all right without him last week against the Packers. I think we can manage against the Bucs, hopefully. Russell Shepard has a shoulder injury, obviously coming off that slant. Took the hard shot over the middle. That's a concern. Rivera said he and Trey are the biggest concerns. Funchess is expected to go. on Sunday against the Bucs. He said he should be fully ready. Julius Peppers is a rest day. He gets these weekly. He's 37 years old, for crying out loud, and he has 10 sacks this year. Mario Addison's a hip, and Mike Adams was a rest day. And Rivera also said Addison wasn't a big concern. He wasn't too worried about that. Limited participants, Tyler Larson, foot, Cam Newton, right shoulder, nothing new, part of the maintenance program with this offseason surgery. Shaq Thompson, foot, limited. The good news is with him is they are expecting him to play. Rivera said yesterday coming out of practice that if it were a game time decision right now, he'd be in there full go, no limitations. Greg Olson is listed on the full participant with a foot injury, obviously, so everything sounds good in that department. While we're talking about Shaq, we'll go ahead and jump into the Thomas Davis thing. Obviously, it was brought up in the post-game show about possible suspensions, and we weren't sure. We said, it's possible. He did get fined early in the year for a hit on Adam Humphries, which he actually argued, and we all argued. We thought it was kind of one of those bang-bang plays, but it was overall fair. He got fined for it. Long story short, he put a nasty hit on Devontae Adams this past week, and he called a original 2-game suspension, which we all felt like, he's a repeat offender. This isn't only the second time. This is the third time he's been hit with a fine for a helmet-to-helmet hit like this, and it's kind of the way of the league for a 2-game suspension. But after you watch the week before, Rob Gronkowski deliberately, after a play, maliciously go down on a cornerback just out of pure, roid rage or whatever it was, and put a guy in a concussion protocol and only get 1 game, coming after a guy like Thomas Davis, who's been a class act throughout the league and Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner, it just seems kind of harsh, don't you think?
Yeah, it's very harsh. And like I posted in our group chat earlier this week, looking at the fairness of the league and how many games and how much money people pay. Yes, he's repeat. His first one goes back to 2016, last year. So he's a repeat this year because he had 2, but they fined him a large amount this year for the Humphries hit because he was a repeat from the season before. But you have Kiko Alonso, who I bring up, that is a repeat offender that has only paid $27,000 in fines for the same amount of penalties. Thomas Davis is now over $60,000 in a game. So where is the fairness? And Kiko killed Flacco this year. Just demolished him. And I think the argument with a lot of people is not necessarily that he got the 2-game suspension. It's like you're saying, is if you're going to do it to one, you need to do it across the board in fairness. And I think we all kind of felt like, when this came out, we were talking and we said, look, this is going to be, he'll appeal, obviously, and it'll probably get dropped to 1 game, but they need to make it look like they're trying to enforce these things. And this could be playing a factor after the outrage people sent out after the Gronk suspension only being 1 game. Especially just back like when Ray Rice with the domestic violence and all that stuff hit, the NFL started cracking down and breaking down all these new policies because of the lashing out that came after how the Ray Rice thing was handled. So, and we saw that firsthand with Greg Hardy. And that might play a factor in it, but it just seemed, you just like to see, like you said, the fairness across the board, I think is what a lot of people wanted to see. And he got the 1 game. If there's a game to miss, it's this one. Shaq Thompson, I'm actually kind of interested to see Shaq Thompson maybe play some of that role. It may be David Mayo. They may switch Mayo out. We'll see how that game plan works. But I kind of like to see Shaq and Captain Munderland on the field at the same time to kind of see that little bit of future. And I guess obviously Colin Jones is going to get his playing time after a good game last week. Yeah, like you said, consistency. And if there's going to be, that's half of the fine money. That's just ridiculous. And if you're going to change something, rewrite the policy, rewrite the rules, and do it next year. But don't fine and suspend a guy that is NFL Man of the Year winner, and it doesn't make sense. And I think it's ridiculous that there's no consistency in any of the punishment that the players get for anything in the league.
Yeah. As far as the Bucs go with injuries, Jameis Winston's been battling shoulder injury all year. They're banged up across the board. I didn't even pull up their sheet. I just know they've got a lot of people out. Vernon Hargraves is out. I do know that. One of their star corners who had a really good game against Carolina last time. That was also with Kelvin Benjamin.
So we'll see how all that factors in. I feel like I said, the defense is really banged up. Carolina's offense should be able to move the ball. And I actually have a fun stat from the Panthers stat guy, Will Bryan, here on Twitter. Over the last 7 games, Carolina ranks in the NFL first in rushing with 174 yards a game, first in fewest interceptions thrown with 2, third in red zone percentage at 70%, fifth in scoring at 28.6 points per game, second in turnover differential at +9, third in takeaways with 14, huge improvement from the first half of the season. Third in points off turnovers, 53, and tied for first in wins with 6. Obviously 6-1, the win-loss coming to the Saints. Those are top 5 numbers across the board. That right there was what led to 2015. The turnovers off the defense and was obviously the biggest thing. The turnover differential is +9, 14 takeaways, and then the points off the turnovers. If you're not getting points, they can help change momentum, but it doesn't change much in the outcome of the game.
And the more that, after this game this past week, the more that I think about how the season's gone and the more I read about it, and now that we start doing the show, I look into more stats, I feel like it's 2015 at this point. And we've been up and down. If what we saw last week stays, this team it's unlimited potential. And I feel like I just have a good feeling that we can make a deep run, and those numbers show it. No one's going to beat us. You pull those numbers.
Yep. And again, guys, this is the Panther Source weekly preview show. Checking out the Bucs and Panthers Week 16 matchup. Like I said, don't worry about that Week 14. It's been a busy week. I'm sorry I didn't get to change that. If you're watching on YouTube, you're not going to see it anyway because I'll be able to edit it. But look, like, follow, subscribe to us on all your social media accounts: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Obviously, we always post our stuff up there. If you can't catch us when we go live here, go ahead and hit that like button for us, and jump in the comments to discuss any thoughts you might have on this week's game. But yeah, so excuse me. But like I was saying, with the turnover differential, and I think that's been the biggest key, because the last 2 games, each of our cornerbacks have gotten 2 interceptions. Going into the Vikings game, no cornerback had an interception. Luke Kuechly had been leading that category, and I think that's been huge. Obviously, Carolina's defense ranked 5th overall in the league, 307 yards per game. They don't crack the top 5 in passing and rushing. They are 5th with 91 yards allowed per game. And then in offense, they've been, like you said, they've been creeping up. Rushing has obviously been the biggest part. I think we got 3 games. Out of the last 7, 3 of them we've had over 200 yards rushing as a team. 135.7 yards per game is where we're at now on the season, ranking 4th in the league. That's where you want to be with Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Stewart, guys like that, the triple threat running attack. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 5th in passing offense with 263 yards per game. That's going to be kind of in flux with being behind and always having to pass.
Yeah, because if you look up there, the rest of the teams up there have really good records.
Yep.
Somehow Tampa Bay just creeps in the top 5, and it's because they're always losing.
Yeah, and they're up there with the likes of really legit top offenses. Obviously, New England #1, Pittsburgh 2, the Chargers 3, Saints 4. When you're getting down and you've been riddled with injuries on defense like they have over the last half of the season, it takes a toll when you're playing catch up. That's what's going to happen. So you can't always run by the stats there, but we'd like to throw those in there for y'all when we can. So that's obviously where they rank. Excuse me, guys. And then key matchups. Billy, what would you say your key matchups are for the game?
Howard's gone.
Howard's out for him too?
Howard's out for him also. Yeah, he's gone. He's done.
I did not know that.
Yeah. He was one of the ones on the list. Mike Evans and Winston can have big games.
You still have the receiving threat.
I think I'm going to call our secondary every week. The secondary versus their top receiver.
That's fair. And the game's obviously always one in the trenches for me. I've always said it. It's not the prettiest matchup to watch all the time, unless you've
obviously played the game and you've played down there in the trenches and you have that kind of love, but that's really where the game is won. I don't feel like Tampa Bay should be able to, the Panthers pass rush here lately has just been on fire. I don't feel like they'll really be able to stop that. But it's like you said, if for some reason Carolina's not getting to Jameis Winston like they have been to Aaron Rodgers and Case Keenum the last few weeks and the other teams, then obviously that puts more stress and man coverage in the secondary on guys like Darryl Worley, James Bradbury, who have had great back-to-back weeks, and a lot of that has to do with that pass rush. I mean, it all goes into one there. But I tend to agree with you from the defensive aspect. I also think that our run game has to be there, and Vernon Hargreaves is out for them. Really, offensively, the way our offensive line is played, outside of obviously the Khalil penalties that have cost us big, I just feel like we should be able to run the ball effectively. We should be able to pass the ball effectively. And our defense should be able to step up to the task. Like Deshaun Jackson's always a threat. Mike Evans is always going to be a threat, like Billy said. So
I'm looking up their full injury list.
Oh God, we'll be here all night.
Well, I mean, for the key injuries, because Howard was on there. And
I believe Gerald McCoy will play. They thought he had originally torn his biceps. He didn't play last week against Atlanta. I think he's expected to go this week, which is that's a big cog in that defensive line at defensive tackle for them. Levante David, I believe, is out, one of their star linebackers. Quan Alexander is playing, which is their really good young linebacker. But I think those are fair. And look, if I'm going predictions here, I'm just going to be honest with you. I actually feel good on predictions this week, Billy. I'm going to go ahead and throw out – I actually said this while I was watching the Bucs-Falcons game last week, and I'm going to stick to it. The Panthers have another 200-yard rushing day against the Bucs. And maybe that's not bold. I actually think I put it in quotations on Twitter, bold prediction. But I think they could have another 200-yard rushing game easily. Or, hell, I mean, Cam could throw for another 3 touchdowns. Vernon Hargreaves out. He was a big key in that first game.
How many points do you think we score?
I'll go at least 30.
Yeah, we've gotten 31 for 2 games. I'm going to say we score 31 or more.
And if it's not, it's because we jump out to a huge lead and we just start running the ball, which is and I feel like that'll happen, which is why I feel like we'll get the 200 yards rushing. Now, granted, Tampa Bay is going to be coming out. Dirk Cutter said in the call-in with some Charlotte Observer and reporters this week that they weren't here to play spoiler, they were just here to win. Well, look, you're spoiling people's seasons at this point, and I don't really care what they say. That's what they're going to be looking to do, and the Panthers have to be prepared for that. If you're watching Cam Newton and this offense, and it's really a whole team as a whole, really looks like it's back into that relaxed, laid-back, not uptight form, which is scary. Cam looks like he's having fun again. That clip last week where he called out Clay Matthews and said, Matthews like, watch the wheel route. You've all seen this by now probably if you're watching the show. And he calls him out and he says, you've been watching film, huh? That's cool. Watch this. That's Cam Newton. That's MVP Cam Newton. And if he can be out there doing that with guys like Christian McCaffrey and Greg Olsen back, it can be a hell on defenses.
Everybody's making a big deal about that one. My favorite is, I heard that motherfucker, and I don't know who he talked to in that game because you can't hear whoever's talking on the other side. But you could hear it plain as day, just like that happened. And it was right after that, the next drive, I think. That is my favorite part because he still kept that after we scored a touchdown. He still kept talking the junk.
Yeah, and I don't know if y'all saw this or not, but this is NFL Films called. So the Damiere Byrd catch was obviously he got his rear end inbounds for the catch, a great throw from Cam, and just a great catch by Damiere Byrd. NFL Films caught that and posted it, and I want y'all to take a listen to this right here.
He whips a pass, end zone, circus catch, no, out of the back of the end zone, incomplete.
That's a catch. You didn't have the ball security, ain't no control. He's got control. This ain't gonna be bad.
Oh, yes, it is a touchdown. His rear hit the ground.
He's got a small ass. He's got a narrow ass. Yeah!
This big.
Hey, it better be smart tonight.
That was amazing that you landed in bounds.
Hey, butt drag swag, bud.
That butt drag swag. I don't think I've ever seen Ron Rivera so emotional on the sidelines before. It was really odd to see that, and then he was cracking a smile.
Yeah, usually he's just got his arms crossed. It doesn't matter what the call is, good or bad.
Yeah, but I thought that was fantastic. Hilarious stuff there.
So this week they placed a safety, Justin Evans, on IR, Glanton, which is a linebacker, on IR, Vernon Hargraves on IR, J.R. Sweezy on IR, and O.J. Howard on IR.
Glanton was a former he used to play for the Panthers two years ago. Maybe last year, too. Used to be a good special teams player and backup linebacker.
And they moved up 4 people from the practice squad.
See, it could be a rough week for them. Hopefully, my biggest thing is just staying healthy through this game, honestly. I think we find a way to win, even if it is close. It is a divisional matchup. Anything can happen, obviously. I don't even know. I haven't looked at the spread yet, which I'm surprised. But I feel like I would take the Panthers, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's like 9 or 10. I'm going to look it up right now, as a matter of fact.
I'm a Carolina Tar Heels fan.
Oh, you're comparing.
We were a 25-point favorite.
Yeah, well, that was you're comparing a really young team to an experienced team.
But yes, the spread should be, I would think, is rather big.
Yeah, I can't find it up here.
And the other key on injury report for them is Brait. He's also hurt.
Oh yeah, that's right, because he had that big shot in the Falcons game. I can't find it, but I would take Carolina. There's your gambling advice. So, yeah, y'all drop y'all's predictions down there. What did you say you predicted?
I think
they would score?
We scored 31 the past 2 weeks. I think we scored more than 31.
Okay, so you're saying 31 plus.
Yep.
We've been going with a numbers game lately. It's kind of weird, but I kind of like it. I'm saying them at least. I think the Panthers score at least 200 yards on the ground. Do you have any stat predictions for any players or as a team?
I think
spread is Panthers 10. I thought it was.
Panthers 10. Okay, yeah, that's big.
That is a big
that's
spread.
Huge.
But I feel this good about this team going into this game. If it was in Tampa Bay, despite they're probably not even going to be a crowd there anyway, but I would still take Carolina. But with the fact that it's at home, final home game, defend our dirt, I'm going with that.
I think Funchess has another breakout game.
Think so?
This week. I think it's his turn to break out.
I'm glad you said that, because I thought about this. I'm going to go ahead and say it too, since this is like my breakout week for predictions, apparently. Damiere Byrd has 100 yards receiving on less than 5 catches.
That's pretty impressive.
That's a bold prediction. The 200 yards isn't bold. I'll go with that as my bold prediction.
100 yards with
on less than 5 catches or less. So he can have at least 5 or less.
Well, we have
have
thrown some long passes. I'll say at the beginning of the season, there's no way that happens, but it could happen.
I'm going full homer this week. I've been pessimistic every other week, and I hope it doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. But that's what I'm going with.
I'll add that one of those he catches out of the backfield.
Okay, I can go. That counts a little toss forward.
Toss forward, or like a screen. It's going to be a screenplay behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah.
Mike Strib, what's about 93 for them? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Mike. I must have missed that earlier on. I think Mike had also commented earlier saying something about helmet to helmet. He needs to watch how he's tackling with Thomas Davis. Yeah, look, that tackle was it was uncalled for. But the thing I like the most, here's what got me the most about TD. We're going to jump back on this because I completely skipped over it when we were originally talking about it. What burned me up the most was people portraying Thomas Davis as a villain, like he was Vontaze Burfict or somebody in this league, which is so far from the truth. It's not even funny. Devontae Adams is really the one that kind of irked me the most when he got on Twitter posting a long thread. And I understand he's upset. He has a right to be. But you don't come at Thomas Davis. I mean, it was clear. Now, Adams couldn't see it on the sideline. But it was clear Davis was upset. And Davis took to Twitter and apologized. And I can tell you right now, I don't think I've ever seen an athlete apologize to a player on a public social media site like that, like Thomas Davis has done. And he even got on the Panthers on a Panthers video this week saying he knew he was wrong. He wanted to admit it and how bad he felt.
Yeah, I mean the hit was bad.
It was
and
ugly.
When we watched it, the launching was the worst part because his feet were off the ground. He flew into him.
Yeah.
And that was the worst part is the launching. But to be apologetic, I mean, the last big hit that Devontae Adams took sent him to the hospital. There's no apology. And the funny part, and I've read all the Packers are like Thomas Davis is a bad player. He's a dirty player.
Aaron Rodgers, come on, dude.
But that defense, their defense has been fined like 14 times over like the past 5 years.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people defending Clay Matthews, and Clay Matthews has got 5 fines total, I think, in his career.
Yeah, I read like it's like 14 of that whole defense in the last 5 years.
Yeah, and I don't get up here. I don't want to victim blame because I hate doing that. It's unfair at times, but it's when you're calling out somebody we know anyway, as well as Thomas Davis. Other fans might not, see all the stuff he does, but I felt like Thomas Davis was a well-known Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner that everybody looked at with class in the NFL. And after this one bad, it was a completely ugly hit. I'm not denying that. He deserved a suspension, and he deserved the fine he's going to get, and he's admitted that. But don't come at him or anybody else. That's all we're going to say is like he's a dirty player in the NFL who should be banned and this and that. It's ridiculous. It's not right. So,
and to Antonio's thing, that was football. It was football. I mean, when I was in high school in 2005, 4, 6, through those years, that was what you did. You tried to kill people. But now it's not that.
No.
You try to make clean, good, hard hits. But for the safety of the player and for their life after football, we don't want to aim for the head.
And yes, I completely agree. They sign up for this. They know what they're getting into when they sign that contract, when they decide to play NFL in the National Football League. They get paid millions of dollars, well, some of them anyway, get paid $1 million to play this game. It's a risk they take, but it doesn't mean they deserve it. And nobody wants, I'd say the majority of players anyway, don't go out there looking to kill somebody. There are players out there, I do believe, are just in it to do that kind of thing. But, at the same time, it's like you said, times have changed. We can't keep sitting here saying if you go back to the 80s, because guess what? We're not in the 80s anymore, and things have changed. You can still play this league clean and hit hard. Now, there are times where there's bad penalties called on stuff like that, but that's when we lash out and we say, screw you, Roger Goodell. This is bullshit. But I just saw Antonio Carrillo said, too, back in the late 90s, y'all's Rose Rampants were known for that. That's the local high school here, 4A high school in Greenville, North Carolina.
I quit football before they moved into our conference.
You're lucky.
I went to that football game to watch them my senior year. We lost 68-0.
Yeah,
it was like watching Pee Wee football versus NFL players. The Rose was good when I was in high school.
They were the last chance you of actually they were better than the last chance you for high school. During their 5-6 year span that they dominated. But anyway, we're here to talk Panthers. Sorry we got off on that. I thought it was funny Antonio put that up there. Antonio said he led with his shoulder for real, and he did, but he made the helmet contact, and regardless of if the defender ducks or whatever, that's on the guy going to lay the hit to adjust. If he doesn't, it's going to fall on him every time. It doesn't matter. And one other thing I just remembered, people have been saying Devontae Adams was nowhere near that play, and that is complete bullshit. He's in the same frame when you freeze the picture of the hit.
He's about 5 yards away.
Yeah, he was the closest player to tackling Colin Jones after the interception. Don't give me that either. I think that's a weak, and it's another unfair thing.
I think the package is mad. Devontae Adams got smashed twice this year, and he's in concussion twice.
Kevin brings up a point, and it's also fair, but it's also victim blaming again. Kevin Von Miller helmet to helmet on Cam 2 times in one game last year. Nothing was said about it. Couldn't agree more. But look, Cam's been getting some of those calls lately, and he made his voice heard. He made a phone call to Roger Goodell, and since that we haven't really seen it. I mean,
he added some years to his life too, so he's old enough.
Yeah, that's clearly the other thing. And he also looked like he may have taken an acting class or two. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Flop. He can flop.
Yeah. So anyway, appreciate y'all joining us again tonight, guys. Like I said before, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button, comment, or you've been dropping comments, but hit that like button, share us, check us out on YouTube, follow us on Twitter. All of this is at Panthers Source. Just like this is as easy as this on your mobile device. And I've gotten some messages about people wanting to know, when we go live, and you know, because they miss some shows on Facebook and they want to be able to interact live and this and that. Look, I know from a desktop anyway, and I'll check on mobile devices, but on a desktop, if you go to the page at the top where it says, after you like it, and it also has the follow, you click the follow button, there should be a drop down arrow just to the right of that. If you click it, it will give you options. It'll say see first. Click that, and that'll put whatever we post and all our live videos right at the top of your timeline whenever you get on Facebook. And there should also be a custom notification. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but there should be a custom notification tab that drops down with that as well. So you can jump right in here with us. I try to post and let you know when we do. Sometimes, look, we got busy lives too. I normally like to get up here on Wednesday nights. This is the holiday season. We weren't able to do it last night. And I'm not even sure if we'll be able to do the post-game show this week. We'll keep you posted on that as well, do the family matters. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. And I'm going to check, make sure y'all ain't got no more comments rolling in here. Michael Ross, have a good day. Appreciate it. Antonio Carrell, when you get a turnover, your job is to turn around and find a man to block, period. Yeah, and that's what he did. It just happened to be ugly. He was just, like he said, that's what he wanted to do. But we're going to get out of here, guys. Like I said, I'm Trip Morgan.
Billy Harless.
This is Panther Source Weekly Preview, and I'll keep y'all posted on our post-game show this week. Thanks for tuning in. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.